Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Maggie Ostara, and today we're going to do a double transit report of the movement of the sun and the earth that starts on December 3rd and then on December 9th. And we have some clustering of changes that are happening right here at the beginning of the month. I did talk about them to some degree in the major transit, the December transit report that I did, which you can go and see right here if you haven't had a chance to see it already. But we're going to put that in the context of the sun and the earth movement as well. So let's go ahead and dive in. So on December 3rd, the sun is going to move into the gate 5 and the earth is going to move into the gate 35. Both of these gates are in collective circuitry. Let's talk about collective circuitry for a minute here. So collective circuitry is made up of our right brain energy and our left brain energy. So the gate 5 is in the logic circuit, which has to do with left brain energy. So it comes in through the left brain, crosses over the ajna, comes over the right side of the body and up through the central channel. So the 5 is on the channel that links the sacral center to the G center. And it's a beautiful energy, the 5. It's all about our relationship to the living world and the cycles of the living world. And then the gate 35 is a right brain energy. So it begins in the right brain, crosses over, comes down the right side of the body and up through the central channel. And the 35 is here coming off the throat, and it's in what's called the sensing circuit. So even though in this picture of collective circuitry, it looks like it's the same, right? It's really not. They're a mirror image of each other, the logic circuit and the sensing circuit. But these are collective energies. So they are kind of transpersonal. They're about big things in life. They do, of course, influence us individually, but it is about the bigger things. And this really aligns with what we are feeling right now, which is that there are a lot of things that are happening right here in the collective. So there's an interesting juxtaposition between the 5 and the 35, because the 5 is about consistency, right? The 5, like I said, has to do with the cycles of nature. People who have this defined in their chart generally do really well when they have daily routines, weekly routines, even seasonal routines or yearly routines. They do really well with that because they're aligning with the movement of the sun and the seasons depending on where they live in the world. And they may change, for example, when they get up or when they go to bed, depending on how long the sun is in the sky. But in general, they're really wanting to align with that. So for you, while the sun is lighting this up, you can be looking at your routines and see if your routines are supporting you. And if there's anything you want to change around that. Now, it's interesting because the 35 is all about change, right? It's known as change in traditional human design. It's experience in quantum human design. And it is an energy for adventure, for experience, for wanting to get into things, wanting to get going. It's not really about consistency or patterns in that way at all. So you could feel a little bit of creative tension going on between what's happening between the sun and the earth during this transit. The challenge for the 35 a lot of times is just a sense of, I've already been there. I've already done that. It's already happened. What's new in the world? And unfortunately, because we have so much information and so many things available to us these days, it can be easy to kind of fall into that, start to feel a little jaded, a little bit like, I don't know what else is there to entertain me, right? So one of the things I would suggest, particularly during this transit, is to go outside if you can. If it's not too cold where you are, I know a lot of places it's really cold, but if you can go outside, change your environment, change your experience, but do it in relation to the living world. What's happening in the world outside? And so if you can connect with that and see what's happening there, but just kind of stir things up a little bit, because that will help that 35 kind of activate and be more alive for you in a positive way, rather than you kind of sitting around inside watching the TV, having your remote going, no, there's nothing good on TV anymore. Which unfortunately can happen, and especially can happen in the wintertime because we tend to spend a lot more time inside during the wintertime. But if it's possible for you to be aligning with the seasonal changes. And like I said, get outside at least some of the time. I think that that's really going to support you during this transit. And complicating the Earth being in the gate 35 is that Jupiter is now moving into the gate 35. Jupiter entered on December 2nd and is going to be there until the end of January. And so Jupiter is here, and Jupiter is expansive, right? So Jupiter is going to expand whatever is happening for you in the 35. So my suggestion is that you are really designing and engaging in experiences that are beneficial for you, exciting for you, heart opening for you. This is such a heart opening time. While so many, tumultuous and unstable things are happening around us, when we can stabilize in our heart, that's a beautiful thing, right? So Jupiter's going to expand whatever experience it is that you're having. So if you're having an experience that you're not enjoying, then change it. Right? Change it into an experience that you want to enjoy. And notice if you believe that things in your outer world have to change in order for your inner experience to change. Because this is something that a lot of us have been conditioned to believe is true. But you can actually, through your inner reflection and your inner connection with your inner being, you can change your experience of what's going on in your life by making a decision to do that. You can make a decision and you can change how you experience it. You can change how you feel about it. The one thing you do have command over is your attitude. And so when Jupiter is lighting up this 35, and like I said, it's going to be there for the next 2 months, right? Till the end of January. My recommendation is that you're, as soon as you start to find yourself kind of getting pulled into something that doesn't feel good to you, notice that and be like, do I really want to do that? I think I don't. Okay. I think I don't. I think I'm going to choose to change my attitude and do something different. Now, maybe that you need to go outside, like we were talking about, right? Get outside, get connected to the living world in order to break the pattern of being too connected and too immersed in the human world, which often, especially in the wintertime, tends to be more of the digital world for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. I once heard from Alison Armstrong, who is a relationship expert and an expert on men. Actually, I really like her. And she said that she's committed to her own happiness. Somebody had come up to her and said, you know what? You always seem to be just so on top of things. Things are working for you. And she said, you know what? I'm just really committed to my own happiness. And I know it's up to me. Right? She's not looking outside to her husband or her children or her work or whatever. She's just looking inside. I'm in charge of my own happiness. So while Jupiter is lighting up this gate 35, that's a really good time to explore and experience that and see if you can develop that ability to shift into a state of being, an experience that is more pleasurable to you, more happy for you, right? So the holidays can be challenging for people depending on what their relationship with their family is like. And unfortunately, we do have families that are dividing sometimes along political lines. So let's just see if we can all get along. All right. Let's just see if we can all get along during this holiday season and have an experience that we want to carry forward with us into the new year. And on December 4th, we have a kind of big sea change. This tends to be how we experience it, which is the nodes of the moon are going to move on the 4th. Now they're going to move, the south node is going to move from the gate 17, which is opinions and is in the logic circuit, into the gate 46, which is embodiment and in the sensing circuit. And then the north node is going to move from the gate 18, the gate of correction or realignment in the logic circuit, into the gate 25, which is on the G center, just individual circuitry, and it is the love of spirit. It's a beautiful, beautiful gate. Both the gate 46 and the gate 25 are both beautiful energies, and they're very different than the logic circuit gates. So this will be a time when you can be really leaning into what's your relationship with your body and what's your relationship with spirit. And are you loving them? Are you bringing your heart energy to them? And if not, what can you do? Even a small step to be doing that, right? Can you be looking more at your spiritual practice? Do you want to be working with your spiritual practice more, loving your spirit aspect more, asking it to play a larger role in your life? And your body, how's your relationship with your body right now? Are you really taking care of it? Are you giving her the food and the water and the exercise and the environment that she loves and it's going to really work for her, right? So it's actually a pretty short transit for the nodes. It's just a little under 2 months. Sometimes they're as long as 4 or 5 months. So I would say make the most of it, because this is kind of the overall context for us, the nodes of how we feel. Technically the South Node is what we brought in with us. It's what we're kind of working with in the first half of life. And then the North Node is what we're leaning into or breathing out. And we're moving towards that in the second half of life. But while this is happening transpersonally and is influencing all of us, these are energies that we can go ahead and work with right now. And then on Monday, December 9th, the sun's going to move into the gate 26, the gate of integrity, and the earth is going to move into the gate 45, which is known as the sovereign gate, the king or queen gate, or the gate of distribution. So this is all tribal circuitry. We haven't had a lot of tribal circuitry being lit up, but the 26 and the 45 are both in the commerce or community subcircuit of the tribal circuit. And they are important because they are here to help us to understand the qualities of our relationships and how are we engaging with each other in community. So the gate 26, this gate gets a bad rap. Okay. It's known as the trickster in traditional human design, right? Because this is kind of like the used car salesman gate, right? It's the swarmy person who is going to enroll you in something that is not in your best interest. So that's the trickster. Okay. But when we engage with this with integrity, the 26 takes on an entirely different energy. So I consider this an enrolling gate, a gate that's really good at bringing people into whatever it is that you're offering to them. It's known as a gate of sales, but it doesn't have to just be sales. It could also be enrolling people in a cause. It could be enrolling people in reading something or watching a video that you've been interested in. It could be enrolling people in a new healing modality that you've been doing and you want to share with other people, right? It's a promotional energy, but it does not have to be just sales. I mean, it's really interesting that it's happening during Christmas season, Christmas holiday shopping, right? And so we want to be looking at, right, are we in integrity? For those of us who are in business, and what we're offering really in integrity with, our whole heart energy, with what we really believe, that we know that we're giving the highest possible value that we can to our people. And then also those of us who are on the receiving end of that, right, who are being enrolled, that we are making good decisions for ourselves and that we feel really good about it. And we feel in our own integrity about whatever it is that we are investing our time, money, or energy into. So the 26 can be a really beautiful energy when it is at its highest frequency, because we like to be enrolled in big ideas. We like to be enrolled in new possibilities. We like to be enrolled in engaging with other people in ways that are meaningful to us. Because this can show up like in creating a team at work. It can show up in like if you're in a community with people and you're like I have a friend who's in a surf club, right? She goes surfing every morning. She lives in San Diego, so she goes surfing all the time, right? So how are we in integrity in these smaller groups that we are? Because this is tribal circuitry. So this is different than the collective circuitry we had in the previous transit, because tribal circuitry is about smaller groups. It's not as transpersonal in that big sense, but it is about relationship and how do we engage with each other in integrous ways in our communities. And then the gate 45 is the leadership energy of the tribal circuit. So it's coming off the throat here. It's the gate 45. As I said before, it's known as the sovereign gate or the king or queen gate. And it is this kind of tribal leadership, which has been renamed distribution in quantum human design to recognize that this is about how our resources being distributed among the tribe or among our communities. And is it in integrity with really what's best for everyone, or is there trickster stuff going on with the distribution of resources? So we want to really take a look at this, because the 45 in its highest expression is benevolent, it's regal, it's radiant, and it really wants the best for everyone involved. But the shadow of the 45 is dictatorship or authoritarianism, where resources are being siphoned to the top of the hierarchy, and one or small group of people are all receiving the resources of the whole tribe. So we right now here on our beautiful planet Earth are in an exploratory and transformational process with these two different kinds of energies. And yes, there are many countries who have moved towards authoritarianism that we've seen, including apparently the United States. We'll get to see how that actually unfolds. But I am still an advocate and will always be an advocate for the more benevolent and more kind, generous, compassionate, caring tribal energy, tribal leadership that is wanting to make sure that people have what they need. Doesn't mean that everybody gets what they want all the time, right? But it does mean that everybody is taken into account. Everybody matters. We don't necessarily have equal distribution because not everybody needs the same thing, but we're looking at how do people get what they actually need and making that a priority for the tribe. In addition to these two energies being about shopping, shopping and buying in Christmas time, it's also about our relationships with our families, right? And the people that we're close to. Because during the holiday season, whether you celebrate Christmas or you celebrate Hanukkah or you celebrate Solstice, or you don't really celebrate, but you spend more time with friends because it is a holiday season, then this is about our relationships, right? And so one of the things I want to suggest you just lean into is, am I in integrity with everybody? Right? Am I current with them? Am I transparent in the ways that are meaningful, that help us come closer together? Am I in integrity with my values? Not that I want to assert my values onto other people if they're different than the people you're sitting around the table with, but how can I just be in integrity with myself? Right? And also be in communal relationship with others. This is such a huge area of growth for we human beings, because we tend to think that if we're really aligned with our values, we need to assert our values and make other people align with our values also. But it's not really that way. We don't have to have other people to agree with us or to live the same way that we do, or even to have, all of the same values that we do. I think when we get to underneath all of the conditioning and all of the mishigas that we live in, many of us do have very, very similar values, especially when it comes to family, where we want our people to be taken care of. We want there to be care. Don't want to be operating out of survival or fear and all of that, right? There's a lot of things that I think we share. So during this time, if you're spending time with family or friends or more people, to just be regal, just be radiant, just be there as a benevolent force that is holding the space for the highest good of all. And I want to let you know about a couple of community events that are happening this month. On Saturday, December 14th, I'm doing a live stream on YouTube. I'm also going to live stream it inside the Becoming Sovereign Quantum Retreat Center, where we can also have a chat about it. So at least I'm going to try to do that. It's more technology for me, but I think I can do it. But anyway, it's a live stream on YouTube on the 14th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So you can look to see what time that is where you are in the world. And the link for the live stream will be down below. And then on the 20th, I'm going to do another event celebrating the Capricorn solstice, because these solstice points in earth-based spirituality, which is my lineage, are super important times of change. where in this case, we're going to either have the longest night as we do in the Northern Hemisphere or the longest day in the Southern Hemisphere. And then it's going to begin the change. So we don't notice it the day it changes, but we start to see it incrementally. And within a couple of weeks, we can notice that the change is starting to occur. And within a month, we can really tell that it's happening. So we celebrate this here in the Northern Hemisphere as our ancestors have, because people were in the midst of really cold, dark, long winters, hoping that their food was going to last until the next time that they were able to gather food. And so they were praying for the return of light. So we'll be focusing on that a bit. And then also beginning the process, really, because we go through this all the way through the month of January, and especially this year in January, because there's some really big stuff happening in January. But with this one, we're going to be setting intentions, beginning the process for 2025. So save the date for that. The registration for it will be in the description as soon as we get the registration page up for that. But I hope that you're going to enjoy that time with us, and we can gather together and honor the cycles and the seasons and also the return of light. Okay. Many blessings. Much love. Bye for now.